everybody, welcome back to another Layer by Layer. This is the live streaming edition, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today we're going to do sort of a quick, hopefully a quick tutorial here. So what I have here is the PiGRRL Zero project. You guys have seen lots of different live streams on this one. Coming to an end here. I've been actually spending most of the past 2 days photographing, rebuilding the project, and getting photography in place for the guide, so we can release this as a project so people can build it. This is the PiGRRL 2. This was the project before the PiGRRL 0. This is using the Raspberry Pi 2. It happened a little bit before the Pi 3 was released. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to take what I've learned from the PiGRRL 0 project and apply it to PiGRRL 2. Specifically, I just wanted to take a look at this one component. So this is the slide switch. On this guy here, it's you put it in, and one thing that I don't like about it is that sometimes when I push this in, the slide switch can get pressed in. It just happened there. The slide switch can get pushed all the way into the enclosure, and then you're kind of like, you have to kind of futz with it because you can't get to it anymore. So I haven't glued it in place. Of course, you can glue it into the enclosure, but I really like cases that or projects that are very modular and don't have too much permanent adhesives. So that's one option, but I found a really good method to prevent that type of thing from happening. So this is the PiGRRL 0 case, and here I only expose the switch, just the little switch piece, not the entire body of the switch, but the little actuator thing. And the cool thing about it is that it's designed in a way where you cannot push this in. There's a little wall behind the component that prevents this thing from going in. And you can see it here. There's just a little wall that keeps the switch in place. So when you turn it on, you can't push it in because it's that little wall is holding it in place. And there's enough room to expose these wires and the little leads. So a really simple, straightforward type of thing to do. But I wanted to apply that to the PiGRRL 2 case. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at CAD. And we're going to just update the old case, not the old case, but just to bring it back to the current. And I'm also going to do a couple other different things too, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we'll see with time. We'll see if we'll be able to get to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at some CAD. Here we are in Fusion. Both enclosures were designed in Fusion. And you can see this is, or let's take a look at the PiGRRL 0 first, just to get the look of it here. So This is the case where the little switch is exposed, and if I do a quick material update, I can make this look like glass so you can see through the enclosure. So you can see that's where the case is. It's not fully exposed. The only thing that's exposed is the little actuator. And if I take the top off, if I had the top, see if I can get in there so you can see the rest of the geometry. I'll hide all the components real quick so you guys can see. Just right click on all of them and shift select so I can hide everything. There we go. So that wall that I was talking about that keeps the case in, this is pretty much the wall, just a couple of faces here, and then these little side walls sort of also keep it from coming in. But there's a little bit of gap. So the gap there is in place because if this wall was fully extruded upwards, I wouldn't be able to get the actual slide switch in there. So if you insert it at an angle, which you kind of have to do, there's just enough leeway for the switch to kind of snap fit in there. So that's sort of how that works. And if we do a section analysis on it, we can see how it's like right up against the wall of the enclosure here. And this is actually the opening of it. The whole case itself is about 1.5 millimeters thick, or 1.4, but it's been pushed in a little bit, so you can see that little overhang there. It's been pushed in by 1 millimeter, or 0.4 millimeters, so it makes this wall about 1 millimeter thick. So it's really right up against there. And I could add like a chamfer thing here, but I haven't done that, and I've already printed it out. And the printer seems to be okay with it because it's really not that big of a problem. It's not a large overhang. So let me hide the slide switch real quick so you can see how it sort of gets nested into the face of it. And that's pretty much it. So to apply this, you kind of have to draw some new things, but I can leverage some of the sketches that I've already done, because everything that all the cuts and all the extrudes here are actually done through, they're derived from sketches. So the cool thing about Fusion is you can update sketches and modify existing features, because I have a timeline here at the bottom. Every one of these things at the bottom are features. So if I actually, let me hide the switch real quick, so I can actually, or let me do the same thing where I can click and hold down shift to sort of show and hide multiple items, and then I'll hide the top case. All right, so now all that's left is, let me hide that one too. Now what's left is the switch in the case. So you can see the case in here for the PiGRRL 2. There is not much there. There's no clips. There's nothing really preventing the switch from being pushed inside the case, which is what the problem is. So you know, we'll update that, and we'll clean up a couple of the things here. So if I hide the switch and click on this face here, it'll highlight something here in the timeline. These little 3 bars here, those little icons indicate that, hey, this is where that spot is. So if I double click on this, you can see what you can edit the feature. So the distance, it's actually a 2-sided direction extrude, and it's, you know, you got the operation as join, and that's actually creating this little lip here, which I actually don't need. So I'm actually going to delete that. So I'll delete that. This one right here. Actually, if you don't want to delete, you could suppress it. So if you right click on a feature, you can hit suppress feature, and then I'll just sort of disable it so that it doesn't affect it. And then we get a couple warnings here. It's saying like, hey, because there's a couple things that were that are dependent on that feature. So now these other features are like, hey, this isn't working. So there's like a chamfer, for example. So I can suppress or delete those if I want. So I'll just suppress them for now and see if or not I want to delete them. There's a combine, which I need to suppress, and I'm not even sure what it's doing, but I just know that it has to do something with that geometry, so that's why I'm suppressing it. And I think that's about it. So I just have this big hole now. If we bring the switch back, you can see it's still there. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that I got rid of that specific feature, let me hide this switch again. Click on this face, one of these faces again, and I should see something in my timeline that tells me, so this right here, let me double click on that, see what it's doing. Okay, so this is where it actually is making that hole. So what I want to do is I want to leverage, this is a sketch, right? So this is a sketch that I drew when I imported all the components. I projected sketches of those components so I can create those sort of openings for those components on the case itself. So what I'll do is I will go into my sketches folder right here, and then I will bring a really important thing to do, guys. If you draw a lot of sketches, be sure to name them. I know I'm a victim of not naming them sometimes, but with this project I knew as I got more and more features and sketches, it's very important to name them. So I can come in here and I know exactly which one is here. Well, I can pretend I know. So it's called switch hole, and that's what I called it. And I'll open it here. I'll show it by clicking the little light bulb icon. It's kind of like on and off. So is everything okay?
You're getting a little bit of static.
Real static?
Yeah.
Oh no! Should I restart the audio thing? Yeah, okay, I can hear it. Pages in the background, like policing. So give me a second. I'm gonna restart the microphone here because it tends to happen sometimes. Sorry about that. I'm gonna do another test. Okay, cool. A little echo there just is a monitor, so I can hear the thing. So anyway, back to fixing this thing up here. There we go. Okay, so audio is good. Everybody's checking in on the audio. Thank you, Pedro, for helping me out. He's always like in the background, like while he's working, he's like making sure like the audio or something isn't all messed up and monitoring the chat room. So what I have here is that switch hole, and if I double click on that sketch, I can see I'm in the sort of environment for editing it, because you can't edit it outside of the sketch environment, I suppose. So what I'll do now is I'm going to reveal, I can show the switch again, and then this is where I'm going to draw the hole for this guy here, the actual the actual actuator, the little switch dually here, because this whole thing is the switch body, and I will call this the actuator. So what I could do is I could project a sketch of this specific face here. And what I think we can do is go over here to sketch, click on project include, and P. If you click on P on your keyboard, that'll be like the little shortcut. So right now it's a little, I should probably hide all the bodies. And now I have a little bit more ability to click on the right face that I want. So it looks like it's not selecting the specific face that I want. So I might have to just draw on top of it. Let me click on a couple things here. So by orbiting, it's like orbiting all weird. So one thing to do to fix that, I think, is to click on look at. And then look at will let you look at a specific thing. So now when I revolve around it, it's good there. So that's, again, look at, and then you click on a face, and then it'll revolve around that face, and just because it's kind of annoying. So now I don't think I can still project anything. I can't select that. I can't sort of select this. Let me see if I can go inside this switch. Go to bodies. Nope, it's just one body. So I might want to not project it, but just draw on top of it. Really want to be able to see that. I can sort of see something there. I can sort of see a project. Yeah, I guess it's already projected. You see how I can select that? If I click on outline, I wonder if I can select. Yeah, I can. I can select that guy, and then that will offset that there. And what I want to do is pretty close. The offset position is going to be negative 0.5 millimeters, so that's a half of a millimeter. I'll hit OK, and then that is basically exactly how I have done this guy here in PiGRRL Zero. So I'll hit stop sketch, because that's all the modifications I want to make to the sketch. I'll hit stop sketch, and that'll sort of save the feature. And now it goes back to this thing. So what I'll do now is I'm going to hide this real quick, the little slide switch component. And I still have it open here in the sketches panel. And I already forgot which feature in the timeline it is, so I'm going to select on one of these faces. I'll probably have to hide the sketches real quick. And there it is. That's the guy. There's the culprit. So I have it highlighted. I'll double click on it. And I'm just going to edit this existing thing. So when I double click on that feature, I can see the profile here. This is like all the little sketches that are associated to that extrude. So I'm going to click X. And then I'll bring back the sketches, and then I will click on these two guys. Those two, did I click on that? It's, let me hold down Option, or yeah, it's Command or Control, I think, on a PC to select multiple profiles or features in the sketch. And if I toggle between that Command key, it'll show you what it's doing. So that's pretty much what I want. So I'll hit OK. And Fusion's going to think about what it's doing, and then it'll do it. And now I have my updated sort of hole. So again, I will reveal the switch. And you can see it's already kind of like, because it's in that position, it's it's coming outside. It's going outside the case. So I need to update the switch positioning of the switch. So the next thing I need to do is figure out where in the timeline did I make a snapshot of the components. So when you're importing and you're dealing with components, as you move them around, you have the option to save the position as a state in your timeline. So I actually they're indicated like this. So here's one, here's another one. So I've done it quite a few different times. So I have to figure out where in the timeline did I last update those. So I'll probably just go to the most recent one, the one that's like the closest to like the end of the timeline, because that's where I left off. The end being over here, far to the right, and the beginning being all the way to the left. So just by looking at it, I'm thinking it's this guy over here, this little guy there. So what I'll do next is I'm going to double click on that, and it'll change a couple of things here. So now I have these two new icons at the top. It says finish capture and cancel position. And when I move any of the components here, it'll let me finish the capture, which will accept the position edit, and then that'll, depending on how I moved it or where I moved it, it may update some sketches. Like if anything was projected from that component, it'll update that. So what I want to do is move it in a way where it's kind of similar to the PiGRRL Zero. So you can see here it's kind of floating. It's a little floating there. You can see there's plenty of room here, and I don't want that, because if I look at the PiGRRL Zero, it's not really floating at all. It's flat with the surface of the bottom of the enclosure. So let me bring that back. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit floating, tiny bit. Looks like there's a wall there and stuff. So I could probably just extrude a little platform for it so that there's something for it to rest on. So I might move it down a little bit just because, so it's not so floaty up there. And looking at it, there's no problem with it being lower to the enclosure, because there's nothing going underneath it. So I'm just thinking out loud so that you guys can hear like the process of like, all right, well, I'm here, so where's a good spot for it? And it's in a good spot where my fingers don't get in the way of it. And because it's recessed into the case, oh man, I'm starting to lose it in there. I'm just looking at it here, just kind of making sure it's in a good spot and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'm going to hit the modify button over here, move, and then I'll select this guy here. And now I can do is I can move it down a bit. And what my hopes is that I'll be able to hit finish capture, and then like the extrude that we did will update. So what I need to do is actually push it back a little bit this way. So I want to be as flush with the case as I can, but I'm not sure how exact I can get it. I might be able to do a there's a button up here. This is align, and then you can align something to that, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to align it perfectly where I want. So for now, I'm just going to try to move it in like sub-millimeters here. So let's see if I can. So like 0.2 is right there. That's pretty flush with it. But I need to push it back 1 millimeter, so I'm going to just type in 1 here in the little Y distance floaty box. And then that will give me a good spot here. So now I'm 1 millimeter from that. We can take a look real quick of how thick this piece is. It should be like 1.5 or 1.4. 1.4, yeah. So now it should be sort of still inside the case, yeah, by 1.2 millimeters. So let's go ahead and hit oh yeah, I wanted to move it down a little bit too, right? So let's just hit the move again. When you hit the move button, you have a couple different places to snap your manipulator to. So depending on where you want to move it, I guess you have the control to do that. So I'm just gonna move it down by 1 millimeter. So I have a little bit more clearance and stuff. I'll hit OK. And you can see now that the I'm offline here, or I'm not aligned with the thing anymore. So I'm gonna hit finish capture, and hopefully it'll the stuff will update. So it might not, because I think well, let's just see, because what I think is like some of the edits, the extrude for example, was done before the position. So what I should have done is I should have modified that position of the component right before any of that stuff happened. So that's why that's why none of these things got updated. So I need to kind of do that stuff again, but I need to find this guy, find it here, and let's see if I can. So it's right here. This is the thing here. So this right here, I should have modified this position. And you can, of course, move things around, but I'm fearful that something might, probably not though. Let's see, let's do this again. I can probably just move this feature past that. So I'm going to grab these two and then move it past this position 9, I guess. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to click and then just drag it. And it's not letting me. So that's that would have been nice and easy, but it's not. Doesn't let me push it forward. So what I have to do is let me see. Okay, so it's these guys. So I'll have to modify this guy. So I'm gonna double click on this, and then you can see that's positioned over there. So I'm basically gonna redo the stuff here, but I remembered what I did. So what I can do is hit the modify, click on that. We pushed it back by 1.2 millimeters, and then we moved it down by 1 millimeter. This is all arbitrary. I mean, it's up to you however you want to modify, but I think this is going to be a good update to it. And then I'll hit finish capture. Hopefully the extrudes and everything get follow through that update. And it really didn't. Now I don't see any extrudes. Let's see where I am in the timeline. Am I just not there? No, I'm far back over there. So now I don't have those extrudes that I did. This is a good problem here because I'm not sure why some of these things didn't get updated. And now I think I might be lost here a little bit. I think I could do Control Z, but I'm not too sure. These are some other, those features from before that were suppressed, and these are some other ones here. So let's see. Let me hide this real quick. Yeah, it's gone. What are these? Oh, okay. So a couple different things are happening here. I think these are those standoffs that didn't get merged, but we'll deal with that in a minute here. I really got to figure out why some of our features just sort of disappeared here. I keep thinking it's these, but it kind of looks like it. It might be these guys here. I'm not sure why they're suppressed. Let me unsuppress them, see what happens. Wow. So those were the other things that I didn't really want. So let me re-suppress that. So we got something there. So it is there, but you can see I have something highlighted. Ah, I see. So it happened, but it didn't update this side for whatever strange reason. So let me click on this guy. And so I just got confused on, it felt like it didn't go there. So what I'll do is I'll hit to side, bring this one out. And now that should do something here. So I'll hit OK. And I think the positioning did update. So, oh man, I messed up again. I need to push it forward too. So this guy needs to get pushed forward so it cuts through the whole thing. I would use a distance too, but because of where the component is, the sketch followed it. So let me see, let me make sure that yeah, it is right. So you can see here now that the new position of the slide switch has been updated. Everything has been updated with it. So that includes the sketch. So the sketch is there, and I think that's good there. Now the next thing I want to do is, you can see that I need to cut away some material here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring my timeline head, I don't know what else to call it, my positioning in the timeline, which is all the way over here. I'm actually going to bring it back to this spot here because I want to start modifying features in that spot so it's all in the same area. So I wonder if I can, like, say, roll marker here. I think that'll bring it there. Awesome. I've never used that feature, but it's there and it seems to be okay. So now what I can do is I can start modifying new features, applying new features to this spot in time. So what I'll do is I'll hide my body here, my case body. It's in the bodies folder, and I'll bring back the sketch switch hole. And you can see, like, not all the sketches are there because at this point in time none of those sketches have been created yet. So you have to think about things like that. A little confusing, but you can hopefully people are you folks can following with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the slide switch here, and I will bring back the bottom case because that's what we're working on. You can see it's inside there. So what I need to do is hide the body again, and these are basically the things I want to extrude out. These three here. I'm going to hit E on my keyboard since I have them selected, and I'm going to start pulling this out like that. And now it's creating a new body, and that's because there's nothing here to interact with. So it thinks Fusion does its best job to, like, say, hey, maybe you want a new body. But as soon as I make a body, it thinks that I want to cut, and that's basically what I want. So I'll hit OK, and that creates a new feature here in this point in time. I'll hide the sort of sketch. And now hopefully this is 1 millimeter. It might not be. It's 1.02, which is pretty damn close, but whatever. So if I bring back the switch, you can see now I have enough area for the switch to sort of feed inside of. So it's in there now. So all that material is cut away. And I also have a small offset too. It's about a 0.02 offset so that the switch has a teeny bit of wiggle room to go in there. And this offset, of course, was 0.5, which is half a millimeter, which gives me a lot of workway. And when you look at it, it actually looks a lot less. So it's always good to have a little bit more leeway, especially if you don't want something that's so sort of friction snap fit. All right, so that's pretty much a good spot, good position. Updated that. Now I could probably go forward in time and start doing things, but I'm going to stay in this area, stay in this point in time, and start applying new things. So I actually need to make a new sketch so I can make this this feature stuff. This let me hide so I can reference my drawing anyway. So if we look at, let me hide so this is PiGRRL Zero case, by the way, because you can see here in the tab, PiGRRL Zero. I have a sketch for it, and I think it's called like switch holder. Yeah, switch holder is this guy. A little bit different than what I envisioned. Switch holder, do I have any other switch things? I don't see anything else. Switch cut, that's the cutter. I'm trying to figure out how did I make the sides. Might be clip holder? No, that's something else. Uh-oh, I'm a victim of not naming these, so I don't know what the heck they are. Shoulder holder, shoulder cuts, switch holder, what's sketch? Ah, so maybe it's this one. Sketch 33. These are shoulder cutouts. It's probably for the shoulder buttons. So something here made this. It could have been... I think this is for like the platform. This one's for like the... I gotta make this a little bit simpler. Like I want to try to do all this with one sketch instead of making like 4, because I was like experimenting with it while doing this, so this can be cleaned up and simplified a little bit. So we'll try to do that here when I draw a new sketch on top of it. So I'll make a new sketch, and you can do that by just playing with any of these sketch tools. You got a lot of different tools. So I'm going to start with the line tool, and I'm going to sketch right on top of this face here, which is the bottom inside of the case, and it'll project it. So it projected that whole bottom case, and I'm just going to start drawing from the top view down. So the thickness of this thing is, I can reference this guy at least. I think it's like 1 millimeter thick, 1 millimeter all the way around. That too is 1 millimeter. The height of it is pretty much flush with the switch. Yeah. So that's okay. So I will start drawing out a line here. And you can see when you roll over stuff, it gives you it kind of locks to that. You know, I wonder if I have a gap here, a little bit of a clearance gap. I do. Probably 0.2 millimeters or so. So one cool thing is when you zoom all the way in, you can get these grid lines, and that gives you a sort of a helping eye of how far away something is. So I think as the closer you go is like 0.01, and then over here is like 0.1 of a millimeter. So I think we can, so it's like 1, 2, I think we can do that. And then I'm just drawing, but what I can do is add dimensions to this thing, so I can know or measurements or anything like that, so I know exactly where I am. And it's snapping to the grid, so that's one nice thing. So from here I can just see if that really is a millimeter. It's actually 0.6. So I think I need to push it down that much. Let's see if I can do a dimension from here to here. It's already 1 millimeter. Alright, that's good. So then I can say, I'm hitting D on my keyboard to bring up this sketch dimension tool. So I'm going to say like here to here. Oops. I need to select everything here. Click away. I get back in here. So let's say I want to make a distance of these guys instead of 0.5, I want 1. And it pushes it back that way. So that's cool. I just needed to do that. I don't really need to keep it there. And then how far it goes in is another sort of, I'm not sure. And 14? Nah, that's not right. Let me click on this guy here. So 2.55, this is sort of arbitrary. So as long as it's more than 2 millimeters or so. So I think we can do a dimension here. Oh, it's already 2, so I can put 2.5. Ah, and it pushed it back that way. So that's not what I want. I want from here to here, 2.5. Still pushing it. So another option I could do is I can lock this here. Lock it in place by using the sketch palette tools. There's a little lock fix. So that green, it went from blue to green, so that indicates, hey, you're locked in place. So now only this will move when I do a sketch dimension. So from here to here, 2.5. There you go. It's a little bit of extra work to make it happen. And I'll unlock it in case I want to move it again. So we're looking like we're getting there. At this point I need to move this guy somewhere like over there so that it goes past the face here, the enclosure. And then just checking my time here. I wanted to keep this under half hour, but it's like, no, I think it's an hour. Something simple, it should take half an hour. Nope, it'll take an hour. And then I'll close this off here. So it's so now it's a feature that I can extrude from. And what I could probably do is like find the middle of this, and then use that. Find the middle of this component, and then create a mirror so I don't have to redraw the thing again. Hello? Okay, just make sure my audio is okay. So what I did was I just rolled over this component, and then that little X indicated, or the little triangle icon indicated that's the middle of the icon. So what I can do is I can use this as a construction line to make a mirror. So I'll do that. There's a little weird funkiness over here. There you go. That's better. Alright, everything looks square to me. So now I can do a mirror. So under sketch there's a mirror feature, and it'll ask you to select the lines that you want to mirror. So I'll just select these lines here. How many are there? Like 7 of them. And then I'll change the select here from mirror line to be that thing there, and it'll do a perfect mirror. So there's my mirror. Alright, so I can, at this point I can either hit OK, like stop sketch, and then extrude this stuff out, but I still need to make this one feature here, which is this, oh man, let me hide all this stuff, which is this this guy here. This is kind of driving me nuts here. Hold on, I'm gonna, whoa, not sure what happened there. It's physical materials, and then make this back into steel so it's not all weird and transparent looking. So it looks like come on, update. So it looks like there's a little bit of gap here too, and this is most likely 1 millimeter thick. Pretty sure it is. I'm not even gonna bother with it. I know it is. And let's see if I can redo this here. Ah, looks like there's a little bit of a not the same here. Looks like I might need to push this back a little bit more. It's fine. So I can just work with this guy and this will get updated. So for example, if I wanted to push this out some, it should update there. Let's see. I'm just trying in my head to think of the best way to push this out by another millimeter or so, because that's what it looks like what's happening here. Because I remember that the reason why there's a little bit of a gap is so that the switch can actually fit inside there, because the actuator, you remember, has to sort of get inserted at an angle so that there needs to be enough room in this clip area, the holder, so that it can get fitted in there. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a sketch for this guy, and that's gonna say at always, this will sort of constrain the size of this sketch to always be 1 millimeter. So I'm hoping is if I push this out, it's doing that. Cool. So at this point I can just kind of count these little squares and make sure that there's enough room. So what I'll do now is draw out my, I'll probably just use the rectangle tool to make that. So it needs to be 1 millimeter. And then I lock that in, and then I'll, right there, that's some weird number. It's okay that it's a weird number because the switch is precise because I measured it with caliper, so it's going to be some weird number anyway. So okay, I got that sort of thing there. So I do need to push back a little bit more, so just push it down like that, and that looks about right. Looks like there's enough, maybe just a teeny bit more. How's that? Looks better. Okay, so I think that's gonna do it for the sketch. Anyway, I just hit stop sketch. So what I can do now is extrude this stuff here. I will bring back the bottom case, hit extrude, and then I wonder if I could just hit extends to, and then say to this area. Yeah, cool. So that'll just make it exactly to that position here. And it's dynamic, so whenever I move it, it'll update that because the extent is set to 2. And then that looks good. Now, I'll reference PiGRRL Zero again because I'm not sure. Okay, let's see how big this wall is. It is about 2 millimeters. All right. So I'll do the same. Bring back this sketch here. I'm going to name that sketch in a second so I know what it is. And I'm just going to put 2. And it's hit the operations join so that it joins it to the whole enclosure. And I can see I got a little bit of problem here. There's a little gap there, so I need to modify the, where am I? There it is. I need to modify this guy. So I need to, let's hide everything, and then hold down command to add these guys here. So that will make it extend to the bottom case. Wrong part. There you go. So you can see here now the gap has been updated here. So now it's flush with the wall. And I got a little bit of a problem again where this is there's just a little bit of a intersection problem here. So what I can do is I can probably just move this guy over right there, and it kind of cuts through the whole entire thing. So I got yet another sort of bad thing here. So what I probably need is just update the sketch, because I don't see that problem here. Let me hide this sketch here. It's actually pretty flush with it. Yeah, you can see that's supposed to be flush with it. That's a little bit weird. Let me look back at it. I could probably take a look at this and find out how far do I need to push it back. Oh man, that is crazy. 0.089. So that's not much at all, but it is an amount that I need to be aware of. Maybe I can just push it back enough where it's not so flush, if that makes sense. Yeah. Let me see. Let me go back into that sketch. And sometimes this happens where you double click on a sketch and like the viewport doesn't look exactly where it should be, but that's fine. We can just get to it again. Seed spraying. Ooh. Probably just move. Let's go ahead and hide this. I want to add a sketch dimension here so that if I do move this guy. So if I do move this sort of whole area, it'll retain. It'll be constrained to 1 millimeter. So for example, if I push this back by like 2 notches here, I think a couple things got messed up. Yep. Some things got messed up. So you can see I sort of have freedom to move it around a bit. You see things are sort of tying to it. I'm going to hit Command Z because I'm not sure where I'm going. So I think by two units of that grid, hopefully things will be okay. All right, a lot of extra work just to make sure everything is kind of fine-tuned, but I think it'll be worth it in the sort of long run. So let's see, hide that, bring back the bottom case, and that doesn't look bad at all. Looks about right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do. There are, of course, some other things that I need to do. For example, I want to update the lip area with these clips. If you guys saw last week, I made an update to the enclosure where it had these sort of snap fit pieces in the lip, which looks like it's gone. Oh, because I'm in this specific spot in time. So to go back to the front, there's this button over here. It says like go to the end of the timeline. Some things might happen where it like has errors and things, but we'll get there. Yeah, there's quite a bit of errors, so I need to sort of keep updating it and fine-tuning it a little bit here and there. So I at least wanted to show you guys how you can come into to your older designs, sort of update some things and clean things up, because as you're building it, your timeline can get out of hand where there's just so many features you're not sure what's what. So just hopefully a couple of tips were here and there, sort of scatterbrained a little bit, but just kind of futzing through some of the things that that if you condense your timeline and you try to make as many edits and features in one sketch as opposed to making 5 sketches or whatever, you can really minimize a lot of the headaches. So I think by doing this, it'll make the design a little bit more malleable in the future. So that's one thing that I try to strive for, but sometimes you just can't do it because you're not sure what you have until you get there. So I'm going to keep working on this, but I just wanted to share with you guys at least some of the processes of going back into an older design and trying to fine-tune it even more, because I did learn a couple tricks here on the PiGRRL Zero project. And again, I spent most of the day actually building this. This is the second unit. I'll probably build out another one and probably do a giveaway or something like that. I'm not sure, but gotta focus on making the guide for this thing. So I took all the photos of it. Maybe I can show you guys real quick some photos. And I apologize, I haven't been looking at the chat because I've been really knee deep in the CAD, as you saw. Phew, it's quite a bit for like a small little thing. PiGRRL Zero. I wonder if my photos are in here or not. I know I'm not showing the thing yet, but alright. Yeah. So I'll show you here on my screen again. Just some photos and stuff of today. There's like the final build. I actually need to start naming them. This is like one of the final builds, and these aren't color corrected yet. So there's always that last pass of like color correcting. This is like what the PiGRRL looks like, naked, like without the 3D printed enclosure in yet. So that's basically what I've been doing today. Here's some photos of of wiring somewhere here. Hey, look at that. That's what we built today. That's one of the steps where it's like insert the thing here. So it's happening. It's getting there. Just want to take a break from it though, so that I can update PiGRRL 2. Because if you know, PiGRRL 2 kit is still not in stock. So hopefully by the time it is in stock, maybe I'll have a new 1.1 case update or whatever. So I think that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I would answer some questions and stuff, but I'm not sure if there are any. Yeah, I think there's a couple in here. Thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys coming in here. It's always fun. Oh, look, we're doing dual things now. Anyway, folks, later, oh wow, in 30 minutes, you're going to have a live stream from Tony D, so be sure to check out twitch.tv/Adafruit. I think it's Twitch. Yeah, Twitch, whether it's .com or .tv, I don't remember, but it's Twitch, Adafruit channel. And then later, Tony will put his stream on YouTube Archive. And then later this evening, this is like the full day of shows for Adafruit on a Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have show and tell where people all around the world come in on a Google Hangout. That's on, you can get to it from Adafruit's Google Plus page. You'll get invited. PT will put a link in that post. Because we always do a post every week, so folks can come in and share their projects. We always love seeing what people are working on. And then after that, at 8 o'clock, we have Ask Engineer, which is a full hour of Lamar and Phil. New products. They'll talk about new products. They'll talk about Arduino, news in Arduino, Raspberry Pi, open source stuff, and more. And then on Thursday, Pedro and I do a live stream, again, on both YouTube and Facebook, where we talk about 3D printing stuff, what we're working on, shop talk, and other things that are happening in the worlds of 3D printing and beyond, I guess. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much again. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, keep on catting, keep on making, and good luck, everybody, with your maker adventures. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.